Hey there, this is Jason. Behind me right here is a corrugated drainage pipe stood up on its end. It's about 10 feet up, and there's a plywood play structure on top. This was built by the prior owners. My kids are just a little too young for this, so I went to go knock this down last year, and I found out that some honeybees had moved in. So I didn't quite know what to do at that time. I paused, I waited until I met a friend who offered to help me out and set me up with my very first apiary. So I'm going to get started with that today. I'm going to show you how we're going to move over this swarm and hopefully provide them a better home. And that will in turn help out the many fruit trees that I have here on this property. Let's go take a look at this structure and figure out what we're dealing with. This backyard we have here is pretty magical. It's hard to capture this on video, but we've got these two massive trees. One's a pine tree, one is a pepper tree, and they are intertwined and tangled within one another. And whoever did this, way before we got here, they spent a lot of time and a lot of effort growing these trees this way. This was not an accident. And as I come around here and the canopy opens up a little bit, you can see how these branches crisscross and go up and down. And this is just like heaven for a kid. There were so many play structures that were here when we moved in. Some in good shape, but a lot of it was in disrepair. So we've been slowly removing some of the homemade play structures. The prior owners, they had 6 kids. They were all homeschooled, so they spent the majority of their time back here. And, they've put clubhouses up here, which is working for now, but that clubhouse, its days are numbered. It's starting to lean as the branches continue to grow. Another thing that they built that kind of had us scratching our heads for a little while is this corrugated pipe. It's about 4 feet in diameter, 10 feet tall, maybe 11, 12 feet, depending on how much of it is buried in the ground. And there's a play structure on top with a trap door that goes into the tube. It's one way in, one way out. My kids are 3 and 4. You can start to understand why this has got to go. So last year I went to go remove this. I went to knock down that play structure on top. And I opened up the trap door and I found honeybees. And so I closed up the door and I sat on it. I said, all right, what am I going to do here? I don't want to remove the bees. I definitely don't want to kill them. I need bees. We need pollinators. And so for a while, this arrangement was working out. So the bees fly up and out of their hive. They don't come down here to where the kids play. They don't come down here to ground level. They fly up and out. So for a while, we didn't even know they were there. And I speculated that they had moved in maybe 6 months prior to me even discovering them. All right, so my buddy Ilya just took off, took all his bee gear with him. He's actually on a second call. He was able to stop over here first before heading out, and he helped me out big time. So I'm climbing up this ladder, this big extension ladder that I have set up, and I'm going to the top of this corrugated drainage pipe. There used to be a trap door that the prior owner built in. They made sort of a clubhouse out of this structure. You can peek inside and see what they did. For us, though, we took the trapdoor away. Ilya got in there and started smoking the bees, cut the combs away. We removed the combs and we placed them into 10 frames that make up this bee box. He was able to assess the population and he told me that 1 box is enough for now. And I agreed with him. Just about all of the combs fit. So there's always an opportunity to expand and make this larger, but first let's make sure that these bees are committed to this new home. So if I show you this corner right over here, that's the old entrance, or at least that's the primary way that the bees were going into the tube. And there's a lot of bee activity over there still, so I think they are still sort of programmed to go into that location, but of course once they go through they're going to see the combs are gone. The tube itself is open. We purposely left the hatch off because we didn't want to make it a nice dark cozy environment for them to rebuild their combs. What we want them to do is to move into this new box. So the entryway to the box is on the opposite side. It's on the south side, just like the entryway into their prior home was on the south side. So we try to disrupt the bees as little as possible. Of course, you know, ripping their combs out and putting it into a bee box is a huge disruption all by itself. But we purposely kept it up here because moving the box on top of relocating the combs might have been too much, and it might have caused our bees to pick up and head to a new location. So the hope here is that all these swarming bees make it into the box, make a nice cozy home for themselves there, and then they'll be better managed. There is way more bee activity up here right now than there has ever been, so you can tell that they're not happy that their home was disrupted. But in the long run, if this works out, I think it's going to be better for all parties involved. So I'm going to go ahead and give some updates as time goes on. I may end up relocating this box. I may end up keeping it up here. If you are familiar with any unconventional beekeeping locations, maybe rooftop locations, or who knows what other configurations people have come up with, but if you're familiar with any of those non-traditional beekeeping spots, please do let me know in the comments section. I'd love to know what others' experiences are with keeping them, in my case up here on top of a big drainage pipe, or you know, in any other location that isn't just straight up on the ground on the stand. So I'd love to hear your feedback. If you know anything about beekeeping, I need some help. Let me know, and I would really greatly appreciate your knowledge. Before I go, special shout out to my friend Ilya. He came over, he looked at this tube, he removed the bees, he transferred them to this box, and he set me up on my beekeeping journey. If you're in the South Bay area of San Diego County and you need some beekeeping services, I'll put a link to his website in the description. Check him out. He did a really great job over here at my house, and I'm sure he'd do the same for you.